Hi, I'm Richard Kassissieh, Assistant Head of School for Academics and Strategic Initiatives. Welcome to UPrep. I made this video to introduce you to the process of selecting courses for the UPrep Middle School. First off, I'd like to speak a little bit about our academic philosophy. We have a program that's organized around some pretty recognizable subject areas: English, math, history, science, languages, fine arts, and PE. And our most important learning objectives are pretty recognizable as well. They're the essential knowledge and skills of those disciplines. Increasingly, we find that teaching students habits of mind is what really matters for their middle and high school career. It's the knowledge that lasts. And those habits, such as critical thinking and inquiry, curiosity, creativity, and collaboration, and how to be a scientist, how to be a writer, how to be a historian, how to act as an artist, how to engage with physical activity and know oneself are many of the lasting learning objectives. And much of our program is organized around creating experiences so that students gain those learning objectives. So as you see this presentation and you look at the courses and themes and topics that we cover, keep that in mind. We also want to organize a curriculum that has personal significance to students, where they're thinking about their identity and their relationship to the world, as well as topics that are classic, as well as topics that are contemporary. And you'll see me make reference to a number of those as we go through this presentation. Finally, while there might be some schools that say we're a project-based learning school or we're a classical school, we believe in a variety of learning methods, and we have opportunities for students to work in a more traditional academic sense, as well as in some progressive, innovative, experiential ways as well. So you'll see that as we go through this presentation. Let's talk about the UPrep courses. Where do you find the course descriptions for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade? Well, the place you start is the UPrep website under Academics, and then click on Middle School, and then you'll see that there are the subject areas listed on the left-hand side. In each subject area, there's a list of the courses in that discipline, and if you click on the course title, the course opens and you see a course description there. All of the courses we offer are available on our website in this form. So take a close look. Teachers have put care into writing course descriptions that really describe what happens in that course. So take a look at the course descriptions there to become more familiar with them. Let's take a look at 6th grade. Most of you are entering in the UPrep in the 6th grade. So let's take a look at a typical course of study for 6th grade. The good news is there are not a lot of decisions to make as you're getting to know the UPrep program. Most of the 6th grade program is done together with the whole 6th grade. So for example, English, integrated science, geography, math, and PE are all done together. The one big variable is the language course, as well as a fine arts choice I'll explain in just a second. One thing you'll notice here is that English and science in the first semester stand alone as separate courses, and in the second semester, they are paired. I'll describe that in a minute as well. You'll also see that there are semesters and intensives, and we'll get to that in just a moment. So the first big choice to make as a 6th grader is what language you'd like to select. All three of our language programs are very strong, and students have another opportunity to change their choice when they move to high school. So we encourage students to stick with the same language for 3 years in middle school. But one's choice is really a reflection of what you find, what you're curious about, what you find interesting, and what you might like to study. Each language is also accompanied by study of the culture of the countries in the world that speak that language. So you can expect that there'll be culture study as well as the mechanics of language, and that might help you make your choice as well. The other choice that 6th grade families make is whether to take orchestra and band all year, or whether to take it only half the year and take the 6th grade fine arts rotation the other half. So again, the choice is 6th grade fine arts for one semester and orchestra and band for the other, or orchestra and band all year. All students, therefore, end up doing orchestra and band for at least one semester, so no prior experience is expected. And the students get to choose their instrument as well as part of that process, so you don't need to decide what instrument you want to play in advance. If you have prior instrumental music experience and you would like to see whether Orchestra and Band 2 is a better placement for you, we do have auditions in the spring, and you can come in and play for our music teachers, and they'll place you appropriately. Wherever you are, it'll be a good place for you to grow and develop your music skills. Another question we often receive is, how is our math program organized? All 6th grade students take middle school math, but it is a 1 or 2 year program based on the student's progress toward the learning objectives of the course. That is, 80% of students typically take 2 years of middle school math, and they go through these learning objectives of number sense, sequences, pre-algebra, probability, and geometry foundations twice, deeper the second time than the first time. However, the classes are mixed classes. They're mixed 6th and 7th grade classes, and therefore the students work on what they need to work on at the right time. So a student who achieves learning objectives quickly or has a lot of prior preparation in middle school mathematics might get through those learning objectives quickly, demonstrate their mastery, and work effectively at a 7th grade level, and then be ready for Algebra 1 in 7th grade. Or, more commonly, students take the time to deeply learn the learning objectives, get lots of practice, develop strong mastery, and take 2 years to do that. What happens in 7th grade? Well, the program starts to open up a little bit, and that is a feature of our school, that as you get older, you get more and more choices, more and more electives to choose from. So in 7th grade, English is a course that all 7th graders take together. The history sequence is American Studies in the fall and Washington State history in the spring. Students continue their selected language at a higher level. They take either middle school math or Algebra 1, as I described before. And they take a semester of physical education and a semester of health. Integrated science also continues with integrated science too. But now for the first time, students get to choose some electives. And some of these are in the semester, and some of these are in the first intensive term. By the end of 8th grade, students should take at least 2 semesters of fine arts, and our electives are many and include topics such as journalism, that is working on the school paper, to computer science offerings, our Global Link American South trip, and others. The 8th grade program is similar to 7th grade. History proceeds to ancient traditions. Language study continues, math study continues. For most students, that's Algebra 1, Integrated Science 3, and our spring intensive ends with a unique program called Capstone, in which students study the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals in partnership with real nonprofits in Seattle, including visiting them on site. The PE requirement for 8th grade is 1 semester, and as mentioned before, between 7th and 8th grade, students must complete at least 2 semesters of fine arts, and they have access to the same electives that you saw for 7th grade. What electives are available in the semester? Well, there are many. Many of them are fine arts, but there are others as well. And they're a combination of courses that are very engaging and high interest, as well as focusing on those habits of mind and skills that we mentioned before. Let's talk about intensives now. I've made reference to them a couple of times. An intensive is an academic term in which a student takes one course full-time, all day, for 3 weeks. This gives those courses the flexibility to engage in much deeper projects, to get off campus, to have interdisciplinary collaborations. They allow us to teach in a different way. They also allow winter break in December, and intensive 1 starts in January, and then the second intensive is right at the end of the year. Intensive terms at UPrep are the same weight and value as semester classes. So you can think of a half of the year as 6 semester classes and 1 intensive. And then in the spring, it repeats as well. The 3 weeks gives the students more instructional time in class than they have in the semester, and an in-depth focus that allows them to really focus on one course for that whole time. They're very exciting, engaging courses. Some of the intensives are required. The whole grade does them together, whereas others are elective. You have choice. So in the 6th grade, students don't take their language in first semester. Their language study at UPrep starts with their language intensive in January, whether it's in Chinese, French, or Spanish. In the spring, 6th graders do an interdisciplinary collaboration between English and science called Deep Space 6. In the 7th grade, the January intensive is elective, and the spring intensive is Washington State history. And in 8th grade, the January intensive is elective again, and the spring intensive is our capstone project. The intensive electives that are available are many, and the ones for next year are listed here. So how do you sign up for courses? Well, around April 27th, you'll receive a personalized email to the family's email addresses, the ones you've provided us, and it will look something like this, and it will provide a link that you click on that directs you to a course request form specifically for you. Courses that are required will already be filled in, and the places where you have choices are marked as elective. Again, for fine arts, you have a choice of orchestra and band in both fall and spring, or 6th grade fine arts in one of the two terms and orchestra and band one in the other. This is also where you select your language that you'd like to take. The form looks a little bit different for 7th and 8th grade as those students have different choices. So look for that email, and if you could, please submit it by Friday, May 15th. Either myself or Elizabeth Shea, our registrar, are happy to take your questions about this process at any time. Thanks so much for listening, and I know we'll have an online Zoom session where we can answer your questions. So thanks very much for checking in, watching this video, and we look forward to seeing you soon.